Hi there, everybody. I'm Christopher Clark. I'm here broadcasting live a couple things today. This will be an interesting day. I'm streaming the underpainting for an awesome Star Wars piece that I'm working on tomorrow for May the 4th, which is Star Wars Day. Um, and then I'll be doing the sketches for an Italy painting and a France painting that I'm doing on Wednesday. So, two small charcoal sketches. So, first, let's do this underpainting for this Star Wars piece. This isn't people necessarily most favorite part of what I do because it's not. Um, it doesn't look like the subject yet. It's really the foundational colors and textures and stuff. I think it's really fun and interesting. And if you're an artist or if you're really into art, then you might appreciate this part a little more than others. This is going to be interesting combination of colors and such underneath here. Starting with, this is a metallic paint. Sometimes I like to use these just for fun. It makes for some interesting shimmery things going on underneath the surface. This paint stinks though. The fumies are a little much, more than what I like, but it's alright. Okay. This, you always got to keep your tools clean or wet when you're working with acrylic. This is an acrylic underpainting. And then oil painting will be what I finish it off with tomorrow. Now, this painting is by no means going to be green anywhere. But having these fun layers of interesting, unexpected color underneath adds a lot of depth and interest. Just lock that down a little better so it doesn't wobble as much. This will be a very red painting. It's going to be Ahsoka Tano featuring her mainly, and then sort of in the background silhouetted will be Darth Maul as they're about to like confront, So totally none of these colors in the piece, but it makes it fun to have some unexpected colors underneath the final colors. So here's just some sort of purpley reddish or something. Sometimes I just look at, when I try to decide what to do with these first layers of paint, these undertones and textures and things, I'm like, what color is the painting going to be? It's going to be mostly red. I'm like, okay, well, let's not use any red. And what can I use that's a totally complete opposite, unexpected, weird color? And I thought, well, greens and purples and things could be a great place to start. And then they can do some fun smears and things. Maybe I'll do a little bit more of this red, because Darth Maul's silhouette is going to be like right here. I can throw a fan on this real quick and let it dry for just a quick second. This is handy to have, a little fan. I didn't check and make sure that the stream is working good. And I got the chat here. 501st Legion, nice. Thanks for joining, Bill. Who else we got? Raymond Harold. Yeah, cool. I appreciate you guys watching. And Rhonda, hi there. So thank you guys for watching. There's 21 people on today. Very nice. Again, this isn't necessarily everyone's favorite part of the painting process, unless you love the whole process. You know, this isn't going to look like any characters yet. Maybe I'll do a Darth Maul's silhouette, but you know, this is really about all these fun underlying textures and colors that you'll see poke through in little bits and pieces here and there in the finished painting. While this is drying, example. Example. I can find an example. Oh, here's one. Here's this fun lion painting I did the other day for a customer. This painting has a lot of, you know, golds and reds and stuff in it, but underneath the underpainting was very purple and green, and it made for some really cool little bits of paint poking through, and it makes it extra colorful and adds some neat depth and texture and things. So you can see in that top there, in the sort of foliage behind him, there's purples and things. A lot of that's the purple underpainting that was there, that I just sort of added some subtle colors on top, and it adds all these layers and layers of color. So that's kind of the idea of what's happening now. Starting with some colors that aren't there in the end, but will poke through in interesting ways that we didn't see coming. Darth Maul will have a bit of a silhouette, so I kind of want to. And then Ahsoka is going to be in the very front. I'll have to paint her. See, this isn't even, you know, the actual form yet. But some of these brush strokes might be visible later. I'm doing them real big and bold. And sometimes I switch hands also to make the angle go different, because my left hand tends to go archy like this, and my right hand can go the other way. So I get some variety. So he's generally going to have sort of a dark red silhouette here, so. And then we can do fling some drops here and there of water just to mix it up. Maybe we'll do a little more of this sort of dark blue, but I kind of want to smear it, maybe a little scratchy. And I tend to get paint all over myself. You know, that's kind of how it goes. No big deal. Ahsoka is going to be more blue in general, so she's going to be the contrasting color, so I can put her here. And I will outline all this more later. Ooh, it looks real exciting. Let me turn this light off. Sorry, there's glare that comes from that side. That's better. You guys can see it. Ooh, it looks real exciting now, huh? A couple big blobs. That's how the best paintings start out, though. Big blobs. I'm out of this green color, but I did kind of like it as some cool stuff you wouldn't expect. That's a little too much. I can mix just a little bit of water and a palette knife, and it gets some more thicker sort of flingy things going on. And also, I'm more likely to end up wearing it when I do it this way, but That's okay. Let's, I don't necessarily want this big, thick blob of green. And there we go. Hey, look, a little scratchy fun thing happening. Let's put some more here. This is a wood panel that I build myself. So I can make them whatever size I want. Then I can customize the texture and make it really fun. This is such a beautiful mess right now. I love it. There's going to be a bit of light right there. I could even do something fun like this. Tool here. Here it is. I got a hook that you can hang like a plant on or something. I can hold it and I have a screw and I can scratch the surface. While it's still wet, especially, it comes off really easily. Not too much. Oops, switch hands so that the arc goes in the other direction. This will have a lot of paint on it later, so it'll get covered up mostly. But yeah, add some cool texture-y things going on here. Kind of adds an aged, sort of weathered look. So that paint's pretty dry, so that's not coming out. That's a little better. So yeah, use weird random tools. I love to experiment like this and do fun stuff like this. We'll keep that out. I might do that again. I will let this dry for a second though. Let me spritz these down. Again, you're using acrylic paint. You gotta keep everything wet or clean so it doesn't dry out. So this stuff, oops, I should put the cap on this. This stuff dries in seconds or minutes. Blast that for just a few minutes, or you know. Of course, this is the not exciting part about painting, is the gotta let it dry. Tilt that up a little bit. There we go. When I do smaller little paintings and I do this approach, I have a heat gun that I can blast on it. This incredible talent. Thanks, Bill. Well, this has been a lifetime of study and practice. So it's not necessarily, you know, no one's born being really, really good at anything. You're born with a love of doing it, and what that helps you do is to do it even more when you're not very good at it yet. And you enjoy studying, and you enjoy practicing and improving, and all the hard work that goes along with any craft. I think that's really what talent is. It's the enjoyment, the love of doing something, and that's what helps you get through all those years and years and thousands of hours of difficult times learning how to do something better. Maybe you got a slight knack for something, sure, you know, and maybe once in a few lifetimes you get a genuine prodigy who you know, is born a freaking master. But, you know, that didn't happen to me. I'm still struggling and working every day to improve at what I'm doing. But I've always loved it, for sure. That's the only thing I was given. That's the only gift I think I got, was that I loved it from day one, from when I was a little kid. see a lot of people have tuned out already. We only have 11 people, and that means that, oh, what's he painting now? Oh, a couple of disgusting blobs. Well, that's not fun. Well, that's how painting goes. These are the guts that no one likes to look at, but they are crucial for the painting to work right. Just like a person. You gotta see all the guts working before you can actually build a working, living, breathing, feeling human being. Okay. I should probably start honing in on the actual colors of this stuff. Let me maybe clean up this a little bit. I guess I don't need these colors anymore. Yeah, I guess I don't. Yeah, these metallic paints will add a real subtle shimmer underneath everything. Guess I could try to put some of that paint back. That's alright. Too late now. It's too late now. Maybe what I can do is this. I like to do this sometimes. I don't have any spare panels that I really want to do that with. Nope. Sometimes I have a spare blank panel I can just smear some leftover paint on it, and I do not have any right now. That's okay. Let's turn that, just blast that in one direction here. Clean this up a bit so I can get some other color, more accurate color for what's going to actually be in the piece. So yeah, we didn't advertise or make any announcements for today because I'm just doing the underpainting, which, like I said, isn't always people's favorite. But we are advertising for this painting to be continued tomorrow, when I'll be doing, more of the finished. Hopefully be able to finish it tomorrow. More of the full process, painting the characters and have them actually look like a painting. I think this is a fun part, though. Some part of me wants to just sometimes just do abstract paintings, sort of kind of continue with this until it's a fun abstract piece. I can put these away. Now I'm gonna need this is still acrylic here. Transparent oxide yellow, which in this brand is really transparent. I had to use a ton of it for it to do anything, but it's fine. Let's start at the very beginning. That's a good place to start. I agree. Love those textures. Yeah, me too. I'm a big fan of texture and colors and depths and things like this. When I go travel, I was in Italy a couple years ago. Sometimes I taking pictures of the city and your friends and yourself, and sometimes I literally take pictures of, I'll get real close to like this old stucco plaster wall with like all these oranges and blues and things like faded in there, and it's all weathered, and I take pictures of that because it's gorgeous. You know, I'm a total texture nerd like that. Okay, what do I got here? That might be good for this moment. Yeah, and maybe a little, I need white. Oh, I never got my white out. Where's it at? It's in here. I will most likely need some white. That's a sexy paint sound right there. Oh, and a little bit of proper yellow. It's the sound of an empty tube. Spray them all down. I love when you have oil paint, you don't have to do this. This is kind of annoying, but you got to do it with acrylic. Let's do these fun little guys. These are my custom-made hunks of rubber that I use to this is going to be sort of this orange red happening. That's a little too red. Oh, it's okay. It'll be all right. Can start filling in. See, now I got all these cool sub-textures of green and things underneath there. Up here. Adding colors that I could never mix if I even tried, you know. Let's see, Darth Maul's head is like around here. These are literally just hunks of rubber that I cut and shape myself. I make a lot of my own tools. You know, I build my own wood panels. I just like to have a lot of control over the whole process. And there's stuff that I use that doesn't exist anywhere, so I have to make it. This whole background sort of area is going to be this great red color. And here's Ahsoka is going to be on the left side here. A little more. That's too much red. Finally, a little bit of blue to sort of purple it up a little bit. That should be a little more red here. That's going to be very red in there. I'm going to keep that sort of purplish, brownish something. This adds a great texture. I can then smooth this over later with sort of just brushed layers of transparent kind of paint. Could use a little bit of water to make this go a little further. See, now I've already got blues and purples and greens sort of poking through here that I hadn't intended, but it's really cool looking. We got a little bit of this, a little bit of water. This will all make more sense as I sort of start filling in more. And in the end, I'll have this great abstract-y sort of background thing happening. This is like the Jackson Pollock section of the painting. And then Darth. It's weird calling anyone except Darth Vader Darth. This is technically a Darth. He's Darth Maul. But when I call him Darth, it just sounds weird. Good old Darth. Doesn't quite work the same, does it? I want him to be a little more red. She's right there somewhere. So he's this dark. So, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to take pictures of this. I'm trying to take pictures of the whole process so we can share them later. We're starting a Patreon. And that's one of the things that we're going to be offering is all the process photos from my paintings. So people can study them if they want. Where's his head is about there. This is all approximate, just blocking in. See, he's a silhouette behind her. Star Wars. Yes, this is going to be Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul. Not Jar Jar. Darn it, you guessed it. Now you have to buy it. That's the prize. I can do a little bit of this too. I always like some splattery, flingy things that shows up nicely later in the painting, and of course I end up wearing it. It's always fun. Now this is Ahsoka's from the Clone Wars animated series, which is finishing on tomorrow. The last episode is airing tomorrow. Last episode of season 7. So this fight between her and Darth Maul is something that's been building for a long time. And in case anyone didn't know, yes, Darth Maul is back in this series as a character. This takes place like between episode 2 and episode 3. So this is like after Attack of the Clones, then the Clone Wars happens, and then we see, and then after the Clone Wars series ends is Revenge of the Sith, episode 3. So this is between those. It's like the 3 years that happens. Oh, let's take a picture. Like a genius, I forgot the first couple. Okay, this is a good like underpainting start. My phone is charging over here. Okay, let's let this dry. past that a little bit. Yeah, it's looking fun. Watching from Richmond, Virginia. Awesome. Thanks, Brandon. Thanks for watching. Maul was more intimidating in the last 2 episodes than he was in the movie. Well, yeah, because he actually does stuff. He's a huge part of the series. In the movie, he's sort of this background character who doesn't really do anything. In episode 1, in the Phantom Menace, he was the Phantom Menace who never really did very much until the very end. They have this great, fabulous lightsaber fight, and then he dies. Like, oh, the coolest character, the coolest villain Star Wars has ever had since Darth Vader just died suddenly. I'm glad they brought him back with his, cyborg legs and whatever. This painting is going to be called All Choices Made. Because that's what Darth Maul says. He says, all choices made has led to this. This is the showdown here. Okay. I need to indicate there's going to be some lightsabers here eventually, so I got to really hit those hard with some color and light. I can't paint bright red or bright blue over these colors now. Later it'll be dull and boring. So you have to start building those up early. Let me do that now. So here's his lightsaber. About there, yeah. Ish. Maybe a little higher. A little there. This is the center of it, basically. Just to mark it out. Step inside my Honda. Where's the center? Is that? Clean that off. Good, I know that's lined up. Might have to check that again later. Let's do the other lightsaber now. I'm with you. And your sister. I think her name's Brenda. This is a stupid, funny song. Okay, one hand is going to be like here. And where is this going to end up? I'm measuring this stuff out now. And then I just have to match the figure to it. That's going to be tough. Like that, probably. There's a blue lightsaber, or white, or whatever color that is. And I want the other one, they're parallel. She uses 2. pretty good. It's hard to tell yet, but yeah, that's good. Now I can start working those in there. There's some lightsabers. Wow, it's done. Charlie Koenig, watching from California. How's it going, Charlie? Thanks for watching. Yeah, see, here's Darth Maul's lightsaber, his double staffed one. He's sort of a silhouette behind her, like as if, kind of conceptually she's facing him, even though now we can see them both on the frame at the same time. And then we'll actually be seeing her in detail facing us. So that's how that happens. Let's try this a little more. I could hit this with just some regular old paintbrush strokes. This is why I do acrylic at these first stages, because it dries so fast, and I can do this great textural stuff so quickly. I could do this in oil. It would just take me a little longer. I have done it, for sure. Plenty of times. It takes a little longer. It takes, several days or a week or something. But this way it's done and dry instantly, and I can keep adding and adding and adding. I'm a big fan of transparent layers on top of each other that you can see through. That's kind of my MO, if you will. Yeah, as far as today, I'm just going to place them and get their sort of silhouettes in nicely. I'm not going to do any details on them. I'll be doing that tomorrow. So today just doing this part, and then doing those two fun sketches. One of Milan, Italy, and one of this little town called Annecy in Paris, in France. So you'll get to watch those right after I do this. So total change of pace. Very random, but it's a very diverse cultural Sunday, I guess, right? Because I have different galleries and different markets and different customers that I work with, and different subjects that I love to paint. I mean, for years before I did anything to do with Star Wars or pop culture, I was making a living painting Italy scenes. So, I've been there many times. I love it. And, I could have easily spent a career just doing that. But I sort of got called into doing pop culture stuff. I had started by doing some Lord of the Rings paintings just as a fan, because they have some great landscapes in them. So I did some Lord of the Rings scenes. That was my first real pop culture stuff. And that caught the eye of a gallery, the Incredible Art Gallery in Denver. And that's kind of where that started. And they said, they're the ones who got me into Star Wars, Marvel, and then I started doing Harry Potter and Alice in Wonderland and all those fun things. Let's do a little more. I just need some darker value for gold Dorothy here. I don't want it to be purple necessarily, but he's going to be definitely more red. I need to find that. There's a little notch where his chin is. That's a hand. Where's her leg actually? Ends there. Yeah, just want to darken him a little bit. And I will chisel him out more later. He's got horns and stuff, and the horns is really what's going to make him be more recognizable. And this actually is lighter. Let me do some of that lighter area now. Actually, I'll just use a smaller brush. Some orange, sort of, yeah, orangey red. Yeah, this is where I needed to hit that a little harder in there. And this is a little more, where does she go to, like there? I've got a pencil sketch that I've done that you might start to see online as we advertise for this painting event. So you actually get to see the sketch that I'm starting with, which I spent the last couple days working on and figuring out. Let's see, this is the notch in the back of his head. See, I can smooth all this out with proper brush strokes. I want that a little more red, I think. And then when I do the oil, I will go back over this even again, and then it really, really adds the subtle translucent quality that I want ultimately. You can only get so far with acrylic. It will always kind of look junky, to me anyway. That's just. So there's some really great subtle textury things going on here that I love. Moin Moin, or is that Moin Moin? How do you say that? That Germany? I don't know how to pronounce that, but I want to learn. I'm a big lover of languages. So we can do a little scratchy quality. So here's his lightsaber. Here's this half. Lightsaber. Cool. This is, I love this color. It's Naphthol Scarlet. It's like a very orangey, very hot red. And I can do this. This is just a crappy old chip brush from Home Depot. A bristle brush, basically, that I could do scratchy stuff with. That's looking pretty good. I'm looking at the feed just to see what it looks like. It's kind of like looking at a mirror, you know. Like, yes, I'm looking at the painting, I can see what it looks like, but it's another way of seeing it differently for a second. let's see, she's going to be definitely pretty dark. This water's getting pretty muddy. Let's block her in a little more here. Maybe a little more green, actually. There's her back. So this is, again, just her silhouette. Her leg comes all the way to there. I'll take a picture of this again here in a second. A little more. And now I'm really ironing out this blue silhouette against this hot red background, and Darth Maul is very red too. That'll make her stand out a lot. That'll be very helpful. Where is this arm? It's like here. She's raising it up. Now I've made sort of a grid over this when I started. I'm kind of losing it. Those dots that you saw, if you happen to see, that's my grid to help me place everything. That could come over a little more, yeah. Let's get this darker. Oh, I didn't do this. And anyway, this is more of Darth Maul down here. You can see sort of through her legs. Yeah, I needed that. That's starting to be more apparent what's going on here. Figure crouching with her two lightsabers, and Darth Maul's sort of silhouette back here. Her hand is right here. Her leg comes out like this. And this is her face up here. That's an arm. That's a little too dark. Yeah, this sort of makes it conceptual. She's not like, it's not like Darth Maul sneaking up behind her and she's there. She's not seeing him. Like, no, this turns it into more a conceptual perspective. Let's see. He actually comes a little more. Or her. This is her, like her hip as it curves up. And let's do a little bit of lightsaber-y action here. I just want a little room. To mix a color. Keep everything wet. Wet or clean, or it ruins it. Cassie says, ooh, thanks. I hope it's an ooh, not an ooh. Ugh. Why don't you just stop what you're doing there and call it a day? um, wet, so that's a little more. Okay, so here's I want this fun texture here. So hers is going to contrast with his, not only in color, but in sort of a texture as well. Like it's this blazing, living, fiery thing. I do this for several layers. It's a very organic process. I need to go up too, actually, so they're not all going the same direction. This was a tough call how to do this because she actually has two different size lightsabers. One's shorter, one's longer. The one in her left hand is shorter. They never really explain why that is. It's just what she does. I guess every lightsaber person. I was going to say Jedi, but she's not a Jedi anymore. Every lightsaber person, lightsaberist. I want to sort of smush that around a little bit so it's got sort of a glow movement quality to it. Yeah, that's that's way more texture than it's going to be ultimately, but I'm going to paint over a lot of it. I can even, you know, spread that around a little bit, just for funsies. Okay, let's do another picture of that. I know it looks like she's got a random lightsaber like shooting out of her crotch, but she has a hand out in front of her like this. That's shoulder hand. So that's I'm looking at that like that looks really odd, but that's not what it's going to look like eventually. Don't worry. Okay, now maybe I can carve out the actual contours of the characters a little bit. Let me realign my grid. Elda, thank you for watching. There we go. Incidentally, this original is available for purchase. You can buy it before it's even finished. We're gonna have prints available as well for pre-sale, so you can buy them when they're done. You know, when the piece is done and they're available. I'm pretty sure wherever it is, we're gonna have a link on on ChristopherClarkArt.com. That's where the link's going to be eventually, or you can also email art@ChristopherClarkArt.com if you want to order one now. And of course I'll be posting these online with links and stuff, but you can get ahead of the game and get it now if you're real cool. So I'm just doing dots over the intersecting grid lines. Way easier to conceal later. And I can imagine the line in between. You said to do math. Math? I thought this was art. There's a lot of science in art, actually. This just helps me place my piece. Yeah, doing a grid is a really great way to get your piece on. Even Michelangelo used a grid when he was doing the Sistine Chapel. I watched a documentary on how he did that. And it was pretty awesome. Okay, now I've got some dots on there. I can see where I'm going. This would be kind of bluish green. This is just my general sort of outline. Squinting at your subject helps you find things sometimes. Yeah, she goes all the way to there. Let's see, very bright rim light sort of around there. Well, where is that? That's half, it's like there, that's her shoulder there. Here's her waist, boom. That was close. And then she has this armor which makes her hips a little wider. Or some kind of chaps or something she's wearing. Star Wars chaps. Leg. Should make this a little darker. Yeah, here's that curve is really great. That's the adductor magnus. Adductor madness. Okay, here's her lightsaber. This needs to line up, of course. If I put it in the right place, it'll be there. Here's this side of it. Draw through the form. I know her hand is going to be holding it, but and here comes her arm. There's a deltoid. There's the tricep, and then where's her elbows right there. Kaboom. So that's her arm coming out in front of her, holding it. She has like a gauntlet thing. Make sure I gotta get that cylinder right, because it's very foreshortened. And there's the other part of her arm. So there's her arm. See, now it makes more sense. There's her hand gripping the whole thing. That's all I need to do for that. And then she has an arm back here. Let's do the same thing here. Lightsaber, this one's like here. This comes down to like there. This one's much smaller because it's much further away. Rather, it appears it's much smaller. It's the law of diminution. The further something is away, the smaller it appears. And she has a hand gripping that as well. Much more foreshortened, tinier, further away hand. Here's her little, I should look up what those things are called. I forget, her like weird little tentacle things that come off of her head. I know she's not a Twi'lek. I forget what species she is. She's something else. Somebody wants to help me out in the comments here. Here's her waist. Time to sleep. Oh yeah, you're in Germany. Well, thanks for watching, Seb. It looks so easy. Well, it's not. It's my whole life studying, practicing doing this. So I'm glad I make it look easy. All right, I don't need to carve out that much. I was gonna start adding some details in there. I don't need to. I can do that in oil when I can move it around better. So cool how you bring what appear to be random strokes to life. I'm glad you think that. I like that concept, like random strokes that slowly assemble themselves and like carve, and suddenly it looks more and more like something. I've kind of thought of the phrase like, out of the abstract comes form. And I like that idea that it starts out as misty, ethereal, abstract shapes and things, and from there you slowly bring it together and add form to it. Like something's like appearing at you out of a mist. Yeah, I might even lose these edges on her arm and her back leg altogether to make them go back further. Just like that. Let's do a little more color on some of these lightsabery areas also. A little more value. See, I'm already smoothing that out. Need to make sure that's a nice straight line. If it's curved, then I'm screwed. And the brighter I can get this now, the more this will make sense later. Even by adding a little dry brush, some glow around it now. it'll be extra bright later. Her lightsaber won't be nearly this big, but this is the glow that will get more subtle as I can fill in colors around it and stuff. But this is really what makes... I'm just taking care of the glow early. You can dab it on, you can brush it, do all kinds of fun stuff. Maybe there'll even be some like shining off of where her face is going to be. Her face is going to be right there about. I can indicate a little more of the lighter side of these planes because she's lit from both sides, but mostly here. And then by not lighting the back leg, I can push it further into the background by only adding lit planes to these two limbs. I can push them forward. And her... Did I finish the outline? I didn't really do her back leg. It's okay, because this is going to be back. And the less detail I can make this, the better. Maybe even add some... That's her back leg. Her back arm. Fading into the background. See, now you can see she's got this cool action-y pose, which... both myself and my girlfriend both posed for this piece just to help me get a good reference. So you can picture what kind of last couple days we've been having in the house, recreating this scene. Photos of which no one may ever see. Those will never come to light of day. I've got a lot of those actually, of me posing stupidly for my painting pieces because I have to, because I am my most convenient and most available model. So, you know, what are you gonna do? This could be a little brighter here. And here. And a little more definition. I should really do Maul's outline, his outline contour. Let's do that now. Just some reddish, brownish, whatever this is. Whatever that crap is, I don't know. Tip of the lightsaber's there. And we'll say it's got sort of that step pattern. And make sure it's even. And he's got a hand. You can almost see some of the knuckles and stuff features on it. And down here as well. There's like a thumb. This is all silhouette, so these little details are going to really be important as far as describing what's happening, because we don't get any other details other than the silhouette. We will see This almost has to be greenish because it's behind this lightsaber. There's a big knuckle right here. I can cover over this later with white again, but I really need to see that. That's his middle knuckle, which is the biggest. Now I can get back to he's got this chiseled chin, and I might even exaggerate that. Kind of like how the characters in the show have these exaggerated chiseled features. Where's his head? Ooh, see, that needs to come in way more. See, this has to be in here a little more. Same thing with here. Just got to pull this in a little bit. So I can show some of these horns. And I need a little contrast between his head and the background. Here's an eye socket underneath a brow ridge. See that? Now we can see that it's him. Or now at least we can see that it's somebody. Where is this at? This is like here. It's not that light. There's his head, a couple horns. That's going to be a super recognizable feature about him, is those horns. That's kind of how I knew I can get away with doing a silhouette of him, because those are really great features I can take advantage of. This is his arm, not too specific. Oops. And then a little bit here to carve away that leg. He's got a little bit of a belt or something. That's actually lower. Shoot. Let's say that comes down to like there. Okay, horn, there's one right there. Maybe this is a little higher in his head. He's got like two horns right there. That's an ear. Here's another horn right there. Little tiny one there. Couple little tiny ones there. Here's a decent one. here's where that's his brow ridge. I need to come back a little more here to carve that away and to carve away this one. There we go. That's a guy with horns. Look at that. Tammy says, cool with a K. All right. Awesome. Give my hand a break. Figure out what I'm doing next here. I could probably hit that red a little harder again. I mean, Jesus, what a mess. Almost done with this part. Then we'll be ready for tomorrow's event, which if you can watch again, that'll be fun. You can say that you watched the whole thing from start to finish. We chose to do the underpainting today because it's typically people's less exciting, you know, people are less interested in seeing this part. They want to see the characters. Like, most exciting part of the painting is like the last hour or so because it looks mostly finished, all the characters are there, and the scene makes sense and stuff, and we're just adding in cool final touches. So that's how we're doing that tomorrow during actual Star Wars Day. And this one, this part is just today, sort of the prelims, you know, for the super hardcore buffs who like that kind of stuff. It's like watching the training games in the MLB or something, you know. Some people love that stuff. This water is about sludge. Can I still use it? It's going to be a little more bright red. Can sort of smush this around a little bit. And let's just double check that that's still a straight line, because this is really important. There to there. Yeah, good. Right? Cool. Yeah, this be nice and bright when I go to do the final parts of the painting tomorrow. I got a really bright part. The paint underneath it needs to be really bright too, otherwise you'll be able to see through the paint and see this dark area, which is not exciting. So I might even bleed this over to her a tiny little bit. Thanks, John. Glad you like it. You're the one who has to sell it. I might add a little more light and or glow for her, because this is going to be white eventually. Might need a smaller brush for that though. Got this little tiny guy that I chopped up myself. Where does that go? Out to here. Whoop, let's watch that. Shit. See, I'm getting sort of crooked with it already. Let's just paint over that. There we go. That's better. You are allowed to use a ruler. And then this one, same thing. Parallel. Like a mighty river, baby. Okay, this is actually her longer lightsaber back here. It's kind of weird. The pose worked this way nicely. The front one is the short one, and the back one, so they're kind of the same size when you look at them. But we know that just because of perspective, this one's bigger because it's closer, but it's shorter, so it's the same size. It's kind of odd, but that was what worked out best. I considered flipping the whole thing horizontally, so I could use the same cool pose, but then this would be the shorter lightsaber, which would I'm sorry, other way around. This would be the shorter one because it's back further and it might read better. But I liked that she's in the left and he's in the right because we read left to right. So this flowed a little better. When I flipped it, she was on the right, and so you see her first and you go to the left and see him, and it was just kind of backwards, so I did it this way. If that made any sense at all, probably not. Cool, she's got... Thanks, Francis. Thanks for watching. Yeah, this one might be pretty close to being done. Maybe what I can do is a little more of this. Whoa. I can sort of scratch in this. This is this is a bristle brush that I sort of chopped down to make it a smaller, thinner thing. So I can do some fun, scratchy, textury stuff with it. And please follow us, guys, if you want to watch more of this. Whatever station you're watching on, it's Twitch or Facebook or what's the other one? It's Periscope is a new one we're trying out. Yeah, whatever you're watching on, please follow us so you can watch me paint more later. And we will eventually have other artists who join our paint sort of events. Right now I am the only one. So all the burden's on me to keep doing cool paintings so you guys keep coming back. Well, I hope I'm doing alright. Cool, there's the lit plane on her side. Yeah, my goal is always to keep it as brushy and loose as possible. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes I get way too tight with the details and stuff. So we'll try to see how loose I can keep this one. Yeah, that really helps. Oh, and YouTube. Yes, thank you, John. Yeah, no highlights on this back arm and none on this back leg. They blend back, and that really pushes them backward and makes this, this leg is really forward, this leg is really going back, and it pushes that dynamic a lot. Really important. Here's her chin, which will be highlighted as it's getting hit with light by that lightsaber. And here's this her little tentacle thing next to her face, also getting hit with a little bit of light. This is such a fun little brush to just scritch in some paint. And that's a real artistic vocabulary word, scritch, actually. Make sure I'm getting this a little higher. Her hip actually comes out to there, and this armor thing comes out to there. She's like a belt. Yeah, her body's actually in there, but the armor comes out a little further. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm going to hit this one more time. Because, man, you can't get too bright with this if we really want it to be the brightest. This is the lightest value in the whole painting. So I've got to really nail that now. The better I nail that now, the brighter it'll be later. I could pile white paint on there with my oil later, and if it's not super bright under here, it still won't read as being as light as I want it. Because light is passing through all this paint like different colored gels over a spotlight, or like stained glass. So I'm picturing light passing through all these layers of like stained glass. Just setting that up now, making sure that's still straight. That is straight, however, noticing this hand. Now the lightsaber is not lined up. That's why that's the easiest one to fix. Her hand and the lightsaber, I can fix those easily. This might be a little too thick, but I can fix that up later. See, look how much color and bright that has in it already. Dalton Wire. What does that mean? Are you calling someone out? Okay, let's take another picture of this, and this might be a finished underpainting ready to work on tomorrow for the official main event. So yeah, please follow us whenever you're watching so you can watch this painting get finished tomorrow. That'd be fun. You can say, I was there. Okay, now switching gears. I'll leave this up while I clean this paint up. And I got a couple of small sketches to do of Italy and France. So, I'm trying to break your heart, though I'd be lying if I said it wasn't easy. And I'm trying to break your heart, break your heart. Ooh. Change of pace. I'm not using this palette for the charcoal sketch, but I do like to set my stuff on it. And also I have to do this before it dries. It is glass. I could scrape it off with a scraper, but it's just, I like to keep my stuff clean. Still I'd be lying if I said it wasn't easy. I'm trying to break your heart, break your heart. Mm-hmm. Okay. Why? 'Cause I still love you. Okay. Just got to clean up some tools so they don't dry out and get ruined. Okay. Hey Matt, how's it going? Thanks for watching. You just saw the end of this one, but you get to watch me do 2 fun charcoal sketches for 2 paintings I'm doing on Wednesday. I'm doing 2 small pieces that day. So here goes this one, and then I've got changing, and it's a good time just to get up and stretch because I can't forget to do that. Do I need that there? Probably not. Oh yeah, that's fine. Okay, good. You know what? I don't need this here either. This is not a wood panel. Good. $3:46. Okay, I'd say this could be like another hour to do these 2. Let's move this in a little closer then. We're doing 2 sketches on this one piece of paper. This is a 14 by 17 Bristol board. I finished, no, that painting's not finished, that's just the underpainting. I'm doing that piece tomorrow for Star Wars Day, for May the 4th. Let's get rid of that. Let's do this one first. Okay, this scene is going to be a scene from France. It's a little town called Annecy. Let's actually, I need to lower this. I'm going to do it right here. That's good. Let's make sure you guys can see that. I'm going to adjust this so it's a little bigger. Yeah, thank you. The Ahsoka and Darth Maul piece I will be finishing tomorrow. We're saving it for Star Wars Day, basically. I'm just making this camera, I'm zooming it in on the program here. There we go. So I'm doing my piece here. Hopefully my big fat head doesn't get in the way. Whoa, 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 whoa. Put this back here. So now I got some vine charcoal. I wish I had a thicker piece of that. I do somewhere. What's this? What do we got here? That's more thin stuff. I'm sure I got another big thick hunk of this. Here we go. Yeah. So this is just vine charcoal. This is a 1:2 ratio piece. make this a little bigger. This will be a small piece. This will be, I think, an 8 by 16. So this will be with Abend Gallery in what month? June. I'm doing a solo show with them online where we're going to be doing only small pieces. So that's kind of fun. Here we go. So there's my size. Just measuring a little bit here. If that was the center. That's about right, sure. So this is this beautiful, picturesque storybook town in France called Annecy. Annecy. I went there with some friends last summer for just a weekend. Oh God, the place is like, it's like you're living in Sleeping Beauty land or something. It's a beautiful. I'm just sort of very loosely sketching in. This could be a little lower, as could this. See, this kind of stuff is really helpful. When I'm doing a painting, I can solve a lot of these problems now, rather than running into them while I'm doing the painting. Make sure this is actually straight, because it's totally not. So in case I want to cut this out later and have someone actually have it, it'll be straight. Okay, now how I'm seeing this, very similar to what I just did with my underpainting. Blocking in big shapes, and I can carve out the details out of them later. Thinking about values, my darkest value is going to be this big blob here, this building, or group of buildings. And then there's a building there. And this charcoal is great. This is vine charcoal. They literally take a piece of a vine and they burn it to a crisp, and then it turns into this. This is just all carbon. You can do this with a stick. If you don't have any art supplies at home, take an old stick and burn it, and it turns into a piece of charcoal that you can draw with. I think they've just figured out which ones make the best quality, which types of vines, or they use willow. So here's these two. And when your arm gets tired, you can switch, because that's what they're for. And I can smooth things out. I can get a great big broad stroke with this stuff. It's awesome. Real loose, real abstract here. So this is going to be this town going away from us like this. And here's like a building here. I can take my trusty old foam brush. Oh no. Tiptoe. I'm just treating this. These are all buildings here. Treat them like one piece. And then I can just carve out some lights where I want it. Let's say here's a sidewalk sort of thing. There's some windows or something. Here's another. Oh, that's a little. Gotta figure out where my horizon is. It's like around here somewhere. There's a sort of a balcony. There's another balcony. I'm using these perspective lines. And then this building actually wraps around away from us. So this is going to be a fun one. This is a piece. I wish I could do a bigger one. I guess I could still later if I wanted to. Here's some windows that get bigger as they come at us. This is all bush, like a vine thing that's coming out here. There's going to be some sort of windows and things here. See, very quickly it starts to take shape like a like a set of buildings. So here's a window. This is also quite dark because it's right in front of us. Perspective is correct. And we really see here's another window right here, right up against the edge there. Okay, maybe I can carve away some of this distant, or I'll carve some here. This is just a rubber kneaded eraser. See, Bristol isn't my favorite paper for doing this because it doesn't quite erase as much as I want. But if I come back and hit it with with some kind of mixed media later, like I might do with a little bit of paint, it holds really well. There's going to be like a building, like a rooftop here. Maybe this all needs to be a little darker. We're going to fill all this in. Here's a top of a roof here. Just ain't gonna work out. Just ain't gonna work out. Work out, girl. I can carve in a little bit here, just like some chimneys and things. There's a rooftop right here. now here's where this, I can see the edge of this little facade of buildings here turns into this. And there's a bridge right here. Right there. Ooh, it's a little more level than that. Bridge. See if we can see underneath that. And we can see some great reflection things happening here. I can see the reflection of this tower down here, so I won't pick that out. See, now it's starting to look like a little scene already. Bob says, we love all the Christopher Clark artwork we have hanging through our house. Awesome, Bob. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's great having really appreciative collectors, for sure. This is my life's work, so it's really great when somebody really appreciates it, you know? Here's a couple. I can see some lit planes. And here's a nice one right here. Oop, oop. And these buildings are so bright, they're going to make reflections in the water as well. Here's some really bright windows. Give me some windows. There's a bunch of windows over here. See, this little sort of village starts to come to life here. Maybe this is a little bigger. Archway or something. Here's Here's the underside of that arch. Here's the underside of that arch. Here's some more windows and stuff. And these get more and more indistinct as they get closer to this light and further away. Maybe there's some people walking around on the bridge here. Hey, it looks like a little fun village. Maybe right here there's a little bit of a indication of a window. And over here too, a couple indications of some reflections. Here you can see a little bit of this sidewalk. Maybe there's some people walking right here. Just a couple indications of people walking around. We can do a little more here with these little balconies and stuff. Windows. Looks like there is a lamp right here. Maybe the light will be right here. So you can just cut right through that. I can come in with a smaller piece of charcoal and carve in a little. And just for perspective, I could put another one here, just to show the perspective coming closer to us. If that was here, this one would be like this big. It's not in the picture I'm seeing, but you know, I can do what I want. Do what I want. And maybe there's some like banister thing along this thing. Maybe there's some like steps here. See, now it's a fun little scene. Now I got a small bit of charcoal. I can do some more of this viney stuff back here. Whoa, just broke a piece off. La, 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 la. There's some sort of vine stuff, and if it's too rough, I can just sort of smooth it out. See, vine charcoal is a lot like wet paint, and I can push it around and move it around. That's why it's great as a study. Can carve out a little more detail there. Okay. Yeah, that's a great fun little scene. Ready to go for, what am I doing that on Wednesday? La, 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 la. Carve out a few more details there. It's like a balcony. couple windows behind all these ivy, viney things. Maybe there's even another balcony sticking out there. I can play with how much detail I'm going to put in it, because in the very end, when I do this in paint, I've done this already once. So it's like I'm revisiting it. I'm not, launching out for the very first time. So I've solved a lot of these problems already. I can do some darker bits here and there for some reflections. Okay, so this is sufficient for a study. This has helped me iron out the drawing, get the values right, play with some details. Kind of play out how I like the composition, see what I like about it. Ooh. Okay, what I can do maybe, I can do this next study here. I can do them, they're both going to be in charcoal. If I'm feeling up for it, if I'm not like hungry and ready for a snack or something, then I can maybe add some paint to these just for fun. It is a nice afternoon. I would love to go sit outside. Okay, so there's one. There's Annecy. Thanks, Matt. That's Annecy in France. So I will be doing this one on Thursday, and now let's move this up. I don't need it that high. This will be fine. Here's the next one. That wobble will stop in a second. This is going to be a Milan scene from this awesome trolley car thing that I saw. Kind of like, like their bus system, but it's this really old school trolley car. It's pretty awesome. Okay, so this one's here. This is a 3:4 ratio, much smaller. You can do it a little bigger here. Hopefully these clips don't get in my way. They probably will. Just ironing out my ratio. Again, this is like a street with this sliver of light. I love how in Europe all these streets are like buildings with a sliver of light that goes down the center. It's so great. Okay, this will mostly be dark. This will be a very dark painting, like early morning. This was early morning. This was like at dawn. Let me stretch my neck a little bit. I can feel my shoulders getting a little, ooh. You gotta stop and do this when you're painting. Your body will thank you later. My trolley is going to be here. This is all going to be dark. Maybe this is a little higher. Actually, yeah, I need a little more room up here. So it's great to do this drawing on a much larger piece of paper than I need so that I can make changes like that. Trolley. Horizon is like what, here-ish. And there's a sidewalk that comes out. This will all be covered over, but there's a sidewalk that comes out like this. People covering it. Yeah, the painting will be much bigger than this. This is about an 8 by 10. You know, it's a super good tool. I know this is 9 inches from tip to tip, so I can measure things from here to here. On my hand is 9 inches, so super handy tool. What time are you working on the painting tomorrow? I'll be working on from 12-ish to, you know, whenever I finish. I'm thinking 12 to 6 probably, something like that. Okay, so here's my scene. Trolley, one of the darkest things on here. As I break off pieces of charcoal, that's okay. It's very foreshortened. And then this is also quite dark up here. Let's just fill this in with value. Shadow underneath there. Yeah, this is a very dark painting. With this great sliver of light through here. There's going to be people walking around here. There's like a door here. Sort of a shadow or something of the trolley here. Let's make this actually a little taller. And I can take my little trusty foam brush and I can soften some of this texture if I want. These are all buildings. You don't do one building at a time, you do the whole pile. Connect them all into one piece. Here's this sidewalk. still just bringing my value down. More sidewalk this way. Let's re-emphasize this trolley. It has sort of another facet there. It's not exactly a rectangle. It's kind of got a chiseled corner. And then here's this bottom. Let's get something else here. This is what I want. This is an old bristle brush. I can use to push the paint around, remove it a little bit, essentially lightening the value. There's a plane change there. So we have 3 planes around the front of this train. What I can do is this. These real tall front windows. And a little headlight. Indications of a guy in there or whatever. Like a street name. What time zone? I'm on Mountain Standard Time. I'm in Denver, so I'm here at noon. So if you're in New York, or East Coast rather, that would be like what? 2 hours ahead. So I guess that would be noon here is 2 o'clock your time. And then that would be 11 West Coast, right? Don't make me do math right now. I'm good at math, just not when I'm painting. It's surprisingly difficult to do those two things. Okay. Here's trolley car, and then here's, I can carve out the edge of it back here. Sort of reflection on a street, whatever. And this disappears into the distance. Here's this. There's a door opening here so people can get on. Buongiorno. Tempo per andare al lavoro, purtroppo. Okay, there's a little trolley car guy. That's fun. I can start hitting in some of these things that are happening back here, tracks and stuff. We're going to say there's people. I got to figure out the scale of these people. There's a guy walking. I want people like getting on the trolley. Now, they're not in the picture. I'm sort of having to invent them. There's a few people there. I'm just sort of inventing some people real quick. There's a fat guy right there. Big old belly. And there's a person here. Maybe it's an old lady who's walking. It's real easy to indicate people. Just I mean, there's one close person right here. Let's get my thicker hunk there. There's a closer person. This is like the morning traffic, you know. People are going to work. I need somebody in between there to break up that monotony of space. And let's see, there's all kinds of stuff happening here with windows and doors and things. There's a few signs. Maybe there's a door right here. Yeah, when I was in Italy a few years ago, this was easily one of my favorite times, was getting there at, well, I was staying with a friend who lives in Milan, just a few train stops away from downtown, the Duomo area. And we were both jet lagged. Serious jet lag is a real thing. If you've never traveled before, oh my god, jet lag will kick your ass. So we were jet lagged, both wide awake at like, 4 in the morning. So we like, oh, well, let's just get up and walk around and explore. So we got up and got on the train to the subway. They have a great subway system in Milan. Got there at like dawn, when it's usually bajillions of tourists everywhere. There's nobody. It's just us. And people like opening their shops and sort of getting ready for the day. And it was quiet, like the sun was barely coming out. People were like on their way to go to work, and we walked around the city and took some pictures, found a great little coffee shop, a little cafe that was just opening up. Everything was fresh. Pastries and coffee. We had a cappuccino, and it was real quiet before the casino, before the craziness of the day started. Let's say this is a door here. There's going to be some cars in the distance and stuff. Yeah, these really don't need any. I was going to throw some color on here, but I don't really need to do that. I'm tired. I want to eat something. Got a long day of painting tomorrow. And another long day of painting on Wednesday. And I still have other projects to do in between those. So I mean, this is a good indication of what I'm doing. I can even do this. Take a long little tiny guy here and do these fun the lines for the trolley. There's also a thing coming up here that like connects to it. People are off to work. Maybe there's a guy here. There's a lady. And she's got pants on. Yeah, just you can do some quick, subtle things. Suddenly it's a whole bunch of people. I can even do a little bit of the top plane, like on their shoulder. It says so much. You need to do so little to make it look like a person. There's a guy here. Suddenly it's a bunch of people walking in or getting out of a trolley, you know. So this will be a painting, a little 9 by 12, you know, not much bigger than this. I'll be doing that one and this Annecy piece. Those will both be small pieces because a band gallery for whom I'm doing these paintings, they're doing a small show for me in June. So I'm trying to zoom back the camera here. I'm doing it, resuming the camera in OBS, and I can pull back this actual camera. There we go. So now you can see both of them. So here's two fun little scenes that I'll be doing on Wednesday in oil paint, in color, you know. Yeah, I kind of like them black and white, actually. I'm going to leave them. It's dramatic. So yeah, top one is Annecy in France, and the bottom one is Milan in Italy. Oh, trying to stop the wobble. I made it wobble even more. Anyway, please follow us wherever you're watching on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope, or any of those other ones. Please follow it so you can tune in and watch the whole thing happen live. Let's see, there's going to be a... Oops, that's totally the wrong angle. Yeah, a couple horizontal ones can help indicate the ground plane a little better. That looks so much better now. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it. So yeah, I'll be doing these two pieces Wednesday in oil, and I'll be doing what was I just doing? Star Wars tomorrow. So I'm doing the Star Wars piece tomorrow. If you happen to have tuned in for that, I'll be finishing that one. So you can follow me online. I'm Christopher Clark. Instagram, Facebook is Christopher Clark Art. Please follow me there. And then, yeah, follow us here on all these channels, that whatever you're watching on. We're going to start a Patreon pretty soon, so we can actually have, you know, you guys can support the gallery and me as an artist if you want, which would be really helpful. And we're going to have, you know, things to give you, like, you know, rewards for different levels of subscribing. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Come back tomorrow, noon Mountain Standard Time. So that's 2 o'clock East Coast and 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock West Coast. Oh, my brain is so not math right now. I know it's easy, but it's just so hard when you're doing visual stuff. Um, anyway, so cool. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.